No, sorry. Right, Eddie, mate. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Celtic Unrestricted View podcast. My name is Ryan Clifford. Well, Sam, this is the Monday View podcast. Obviously, briefly going over the Dundee United game, what happened at the weekend. Obviously, Rangers dropping points, so it's very good for us, mate. Again, how's your weekend, and also how's the match?
It's a bit weird to be doing these so early in the morning. Normally we're 7 o'clock type people when we do these, but it was a great weekend, as you said. Obviously, them dropping points, which set up a great start to the day. I had a pleasure of being at the game on Saturday, and before obviously kick off and the stadium found out the result was a great. The reward went up. Obviously, I couldn't get a signal on my phone, so I had to ask somebody beside me what happened. So I said to her, I was like, "Sorry, excuse me, do you mind telling me?" And she was telling me. So it set up. Obviously, we knew we had to win, but it set up a great day, knowing obviously they'd slipped up to give us that incentive going forward to obviously win the game. But the weekend was good overall. Apart from that, just chilled out, obviously. But that was the highlight of the weekend, obviously. But we'll obviously get to talking about that in more detail over the course of this podcast.
As you say, mate, obviously, before the game, Rangers dropping points, which is obviously an incentive to obviously go in and win the match. And I think before the game, let's be fair, most of us were thinking Rangers were just going to go up to Dingwall and win. Just basically a professional performance, go and get the result. And then obviously, McGregor's done a kind of poor performance, which, to be fair, the last few games he's been like that. So, but obviously, on to us, you're thinking, will he kind of rest players for obviously the game on Wednesday, or will he just continue with obviously the good momentum that we've got? And obviously, Jota with the bench, I think obviously that was in mind for obviously the game on Wednesday coming. But what was your opinions, obviously, to start off with, Sam? Obviously, Jota wasn't playing, your skills were playing, so realistically, the team was actually a good setup going into the match.
I get obviously we had to rest players going into Wednesday, but I thought looking at it, I was like, really? It's obviously still a strong team, don't get me wrong. Like, there wasn't any weaknesses in the team, but I thought we'll still win, but I didn't think it'd be as comfortable, obviously, as it turned out to be. Sorry, I'm just new with the comments and everything. But I thought it might be a wee bit. Not that we'll struggle, but I thought I didn't think it'd be as good a performance, because obviously we're playing. I don't know if you want to call it quote unquote our weaker players.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to use that or whatever term you want to use, but ultimately, as I said earlier as well, regardless of who's playing, we've still got a strong enough team in place to go out and win games. And I just thought we'd still win the game anyway. Didn't think it'd be as close to a margin and as last minute as it was, but as we always say, it doesn't matter how you get the ball in the net or when you get the ball in the net. It's just a case of if you end up winning, that's the main thing.
I think as well, mate, it's the fact that we've actually got the squad now, I think, to put these different guys in. Obviously, out of Taylor and Scales, I'm on the Scales bandwagon. I'm not Taylor's biggest. I'm not his biggest fan, as in as a guy. I think he seems brand new, mate. But I just think as a left back for us, he's steady enough, but I don't think to take us forward to the next level. I think he's a man. I think I've said that in previous pods. But on the game itself, I didn't think Scales done much wrong. I just think it's a change of direction for the manager, change of formation, try to get more, obviously, influence in the game. And then obviously Taylor came on at half time, and then it did change a bit of the game, I would say. But I thought overall, mate, going in with Scales and obviously Forrest. Obviously, I'll start with Forrest, Sam. I don't know what you take on Forrest. After the game, there was a lot of opinions about Forrest. Maybe he's finished, maybe he can't do it this level anymore, he's too inconsistent, blah, blah, blah. What was your opinions on James Forrest at the match?
Like, it's a tough one because I know we said it in the chat yesterday or the day before after it, but I just think he's been a great servant, obviously, to his no taking anything away from him for that point of view, because, as I said, it obviously to use, there's very rarely you see in football now where a guy's a one club man. It's very rare that you see it now at any level. So I'm not taking it away for, again, the servant he's been, but I don't know if it's his age or the injury that he obviously had, but he just looks as though he's lost a yard or two. It's not that Forrest that obviously we're used to running at a full back, taking him on, cutting, like turning him inside out, or cutting inside and taking on his left, as we know he's obviously capable of doing. Again, that could be down to the injury, his age. I don't know. I really don't know what it is. Maybe he's lost his confidence. Again, I don't know. But I just think he's not. I said finished, but I think that maybe been a wee bit harsh. I don't know if he just needs more time and then obviously getting his confidence back. I thought maybe him getting that goal against St Johnstone to take us to the final maybe would have got it back. Getting near an, well, not a last minute winner, but a late on game winner. But I don't know, just Saturday, I was looking at him and it was like he was hesitant, like Scales was wanting to play a ball and he's just like sitting there like waiting for like a dug into traps to go. And I'm just going, and obviously it was so frustrating to watch, but I don't know. It's like, I know it's a different situation, but with Alston, I don't mind Forrest like me eat my words, and that's what I hope. But I just think he's past his best now.
I think I'm like that as well, mate. I've said it on previous pods in the group chat as well, that for me personally, I still think he's a valuable member of the squad. I just think that he's maybe no suited to Angie's style. That quickness, explosive play. Again, I think some fans are really kind of taking notice of it now. And beforehand, I've been saying it for months. I even said it pre-season. Will he be able to play again because of his injuries, and will he be as explosive as he's been in the past? I still think he's a valuable player, don't get me wrong, but I think the sense I'm getting, I think he's more a squad player now. Abada for me is above him. Jota for me is the main man. So I think the way Andrew's obviously want to play, it's a rotational basis maybe, but I don't know if it's rotational because he wants to be rotational. I think he's been rotational because he's got to be, because of how many games we're playing at the moment. I don't think Forrest done. I don't think he done too much wrong. I just think it's trying to get. I don't think he can take a man on anymore. He's trying to buy a man, but he keeps cutting inside. Even against Hearts at Tynecastle, his decision making wasn't the best. He could have passed the ball a few times. So, but again, that could all come with games and fitness. We don't know. But I'm kind of on the same bandwagon as you, mate, and some Celtic fans at the weekend, that maybe Forrest is. He's no going to play every week than he did in previous years.
Aye, no, definitely. Like I said, it's as you say, at Tynecastle, I thought his decision making was terrible, absolutely terrible. There's times where he cut inside to be fair to him, and then he could have maybe curled a shot to have a go, but it was laying it off. And it's like, where's that? As I said earlier, where's that Forrest of old that again cut inside and then have a dig? I think you said in one, like, I can't remember what podcast it was, but I would agree with what you said. You said, I don't mind players having a go, and I don't mind that. I'd rather they have a go than don't. So I'm just like, you just be. I know he's never going to get to the heights where he was obviously scoring loads of goals, contributing, etc., etc. But just be a shadow of that, and you'll be fine.
I think that's the thing with Forrest, mate. I think his consistency. There's no doubt he's been a brilliant player early years. I think he's been more consistent than some years than he has others. But I just think for me, maybe injuries have took his toll on him. It happens to players. And obviously in the game, there's a few decisions he's done as well that he could have done better. And I just think it's the fact that I think it's frustrating because he's got it in his locker. I think he can still go by a man. He still get that a bit explosive, but again, it could be mental. It could be confidence. You know yourself, Sam. Anytime you play football, any player, if you're confident, you're a better player than you're no confident. So, for me, I don't know if he will play on Wednesday. I don't think he will. I think it'll be a bad and Jota, but for the weekend's game, I was a bit disappointed for it because it was a game for him to get back into the swing of things and get back into the team. I was saying, I don't think he was, as I said, he wasn't too bad, but I don't think he was a shining light. But I don't know what you think of the game, Sam, but I don't think we played that bad personally. I don't think we were rotten. I don't think we were anything bad. I just think we were frustrated that we couldn't get the ball in the back of the net. If you get that one for Riley in the first half, if you slow back, you'd probably win the game 2 or 3 nothing. But again on him as well, Sam, I thought he was superb. I thought he was maybe the best player on the park.
Who was that? Sorry, I missed it.
O'Reilly.
O'Reilly. Sorry, I missed that completely. There was times where I was like, I think he maybe tried too hard, but overall, I thought he was. I know I said it differently, but I think looking back on it, he was brilliant. Like some of the switch passes he was getting into the likes of Abada was absolutely unbelievable. But that's what I know. We've always got Rogic and Turnbull and everything, but as I said in a previous podcast, Rogic can't do it all. He can't do it all on his own, and we've not had. He's probably, apart from obviously Rogic, that can take that ball on the half turn and obviously feed it into the likes of Jota, Abada, whoever it may be. But I thought he was brilliant. It was just, for being 21-year-old, I think he is, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's just a very technical player. And I think for £1.5 million, we've got an absolute steal.
No, I'm the same as you, mate. I'm the exact same as you. I think for the price we'll pay for him, I think it's as it gone so far, I think it's very decent. I know people, League One players, League Two, people might say why you signing players for that level and whatever.
Excuse me.
But you can get wee gems for these leagues. I did mention in a previous pod that the fact that we were going to pay £10 million for Tony, I was like, at the time, it's a bit much for League One striker, but obviously looking back now, it was actually a decent deal because look what he's doing with Brentford. So, but about O'Reilly, you can just see the guy's got it. This is him as well. He admitted obviously after the Hearts game that he was tired and he wasn't used to this level of intensity in the fans, and they're thinking if he's not used to 17,000 at Tynecastle, wait till Wednesday night when you play against Rangers. It's going to be intense. It's going to be. I'm not going to say it's going to make or break the season, but I think whoever wins, they've got a big stronghold in the league. Even if we win, we only go 1 point ahead. So, but it's a mental aspect and momentum to take forward. I think we've got the momentum now. Sorry, and we just need to carry that on. But I think O'Reilly, I think he'll play on Wednesday. I think he played really well. I think the fans are starting to take to him already. You know yourself, Sam, sometimes Celtic fans take a while to want the players and they judge players too early. But I think maybe under Ange, you're maybe not really judging a player as much because you maybe trust the manager more, if that makes sense.
Aye. No, definitely. I think we've said again, I know we keep referencing previous podcasts, but I think we've said on them before, there's not one player that Ange has brought in that hasn't made an impact in some way. There's not one. That's even including obviously this window that obviously within the deadline day they know of, but well, maybe apart from Johnny Kenny, but obviously he's not had a chance yet to obviously do that. But anyway, but there's no reason not to trust the players because, as I said, he's brought them in knowing the type of impact they'd have. And but it's in 2 games in, and Matt O'Reilly said man of the match in his first game and a really good performance in his second. So it's only 2 games in. I totally get that. People will go, it's only 2 games in, but as you know yourself, not even just with Celtic, if somebody's had 2 good games back to back, it normally sets them on good stead going forward in the career of the team they're playing in.
No, definitely, mate. And it's true that I can agree with Martin from YouTube says. Fitness issue and low confidence with Forest. Not writing them off yet. Bruni was written off many a time and came good. Hopefully Forest can do the same. That's true, Martin. Brown was written off, but I think for me, Martin, don't know what you think yourself, Sam, Martin, but for me, I think Scott Brown was maybe, I think he had a niggling hip injury. He was injured and he was still going through the pain. And then Rodgers came in and obviously changed his fitness and whatever he changed, it worked for Brown because it basically got his career back in track. With Forrest, I'm not sure if it was Rodgers, Sam, that done it. But I could be talking way out of water here, but I'm sure somebody told me to move house or something because he was always getting hamstring injuries to drive or something. I don't know if I heard that out of the wind, but I don't know if that's true. But if it was, then I can understand because If you're driving long distances and you're used to getting hamstring injuries, it will affect you. But for me, Forrest, I think that fitness probably could be an issue, and obviously low in confidence. But Andrew came out and says that he's basically back in his best condition, he's been here. So I don't know if it is his fitness, if it is maybe confidence, or he's just not the player he's going to be anymore. I can say to you, Sam, as well, that maybe the guys in the group chat, maybe he's got to adapt his game, maybe to plays a 10, or maybe play up front to try and get the best out of him, because I think he can still do a job for the team. I don't think he's anywhere near no playing. I think he's still a big asset to us, but I think maybe going forward, if maybe want to take it to a different level again, I maybe think Abada and Jota look the way forward for this season anyway, because Abada, you can't get Abada because the manager's got the authority to draft him, but as a fan base, I think Abada's got the nod now. He's got the stats that show he's doing very well. I think he's every 80-90 minutes he's scoring
like
or contributing.
I know now, sorry, just to say, I know now with the goal yesterday, I keep saying Saturday, sorry, that I think that's 20 or 21 goal contributions this year. I think he's got 12 in the league, maybe 11 or 12 roughly, for a 20-year-old. And he's in his debut season in a new country, with a team obviously the stature of Celtic. That's unbelievable.
It's very good going, isn't it?
Aye.
And the fact that I think there's 2 or 3 million we got him for as well, so it's not like we're paid pennies from.
No.
But I think as well, even on the United game, I thought Abada was actually decent, and he scored obviously the goal. I think for me, Abada he's grown in stature. I don't think he was brought in to play right away. I thought he maybe brought in as not a development player, but to just kind of get yourself into the team and kind of get used to the style and the culture of the club. But I think for me, the guy's just he's hit the natural ground running. He's been superb. He's had the odd game where he's been consistent, but like I've said in previous podcasts, if you're a winger, you've got to be consistent. Most wingers are inconsistent. They might have 3 or 4 amazing games and they're quiet for 10 games. That's just wingers, that's just football. It's different for strikers, they need to go on the ball. But normally wingers, they have the odd 2 or 3 games in a row where they're not up to it. But then when you go to Jota, the guy's always on it. That guy is unbelievable. They try not to get too hooked on him, because I thought he made a big difference again on Saturday when he came on. Obviously, we talk about the goal for Abada, Sam, but the ball in for Jota was unbelievable. It was just Abada.
I was at the game, and where I was sitting, like, it was literally to the left-hand side of me, so I could see, obviously, like, right in front of me, obviously. The ball in was absolutely phenomenal. Obviously, people know my stance on Jota. Obviously, everybody's is the same anyway, but mine's in particular, you know it. I know we always get told never fall in love with lone players, but I'm down the rabbit hole. I think there's too many superlatives and compliments we can use to describe him. He's just unbelievable. His ball in was unreal, and I think, as obviously getting on the topic of the game, I don't think we played that bad. I think there was just points where I was sitting and I was wanting to punch the barrier in front of me, just because there was things we were doing. The ball at times was moving too slow, I think, especially down the left-hand side. And I'm not saying that was Scales or Forrest or Braith. I don't know what it was, right? But the ball just wasn't moving quick enough. And I think obviously with the change Jota and Juranovic came on at half time, I think that changed the game entirely. We were quicker, and I even think, I know again we'll probably go on him, but I even think Ben Doak had a great game when he came on. But again, I'll leave that till later on. But that ball in was unbelievable, because it's the timing, the timing, the pace of the ball as well. It's just unbelievable. Then obviously the scenes where you see Jota and Juranovic running into the crowd. But Jota was, again, it was unbelievable yesterday. I don't even think the Dundee United players could keep up with him in terms of, because he was just back to his usual, being sharp, taking players on, just like being Jota, like, you know what you get with him. So, it's just, there's too many things. I think me, you, and every other Celtic fans probably ran out of words in terms of describe his ability and what he can bring.
I think like you say, you try and no fall in love with lone players, but you kind of don't see the lone player because he's been that good. Because most of the time you get a lone player in the last few years, have not really been that good. Give or take a few, Elanusi was decent. Some fans are still dividing opinion on Elanusi, but Stuart Martin, big cracking of Jota and Carter Vickers signed for deadline. It is wishful thinking, mate. I don't know if we'll get anybody in. I know I've heard a few whispers myself, but you might get one in, maybe a loan deal, or if we can get. I think Ange says maybe it's only if maybe somebody comes available. So again, it's wishful thinking to get them both in the same window, but I do believe that there's been talks between the two of them. I do believe there's been advanced talks with Jota and certain things. Well, know what happens, I don't know. But I think if you can get they two for the price you're talking, I think it's roughly maybe £12 million for the two of them. I think if you sign them, I don't know if that's 100% quotations, but you especially Jota, you're going to double your money in Jota if you sign them 100%, maybe in treble your money, because the guy is going to go further. As I say, nobody's bigger than Celtic. We're a massive, massive club and a massive institution, but a massive everything. But players have got ambitions to play at a higher level in Europe and whatever else. People want to play Barcelona, Real Madrid. His option teams to play Benfica. So well know that as he's thinking that he's maybe got to this stage at the end of this season where he can maybe go and play Benfica. But again, you've seen the reaction moving Saturday, Sam. That's not a guy that doesn't like playing here. That's a guy that loves playing here.
Yep.
He's elated that we've got the goal. He knows that it's a massive win, it's a massive goal. And when you love a club or you don't want to beat a club, you don't obviously in the moment you kind of act like that anyway. But when a player acts like that after a game, you don't mean something. And I think for me, most of the team they get Celtic now. Maybe last year, some of the players didn't really mean what it meant to Celtic and the fans. I think that obviously going for 10 in a row and doing well in Europe. I don't think we've done too bad in Europe. We beat some decent teams and stuff, but on the whole, last season was very disappointing. And I don't think some of the players knew last season what they were getting into, and I think this year, but it seems yet they've all been briefed to what to expect this year, what to expect with Celtic. And as I says, I think I said in the previous podcast before the game Saturday that having a tour at Celtic Park, and the tour guide basically says Joe Hart came on a tour and he took his family and he was asking everything about the club. He was wanting to know every single thing, and he says I think he kind of regrets not coming here before he did, because I know there's rumours of him coming last year, but I think for me, Sam, I think you can see as well in the park and after the park, even the social media and stuff, that the club are on a unit again. And I think Saturday was a big level for that, because you seen the end of the game and they're all celebrating and they're all together. I think that's the thing, that we're all together again as a club and the fan base.
Aye, because obviously we all know what happened last season. I'm not going to get into that because that annoys me thinking about it. But I think this year, obviously with the signings that were brought in, not even just the signings, but obviously the whole club in general, everybody knows obviously what it's like to play for Celtic. But I think, me personally, I think Ange's got a big part to play in that, because he's probably all sat them down and says, look, this is what I want, this is what it is to play for this club. Obviously to go out and win every week, sometimes you can't do it, obviously, unfortunately, but I think he's instilled that in them as well. And obviously, as you just said about Joe Hart, he's obviously come out and stated that he took aback. He said he knew how obviously big a club we were, but he didn't realise how big it actually is. So I think there's a unity there, which, as you said, wasn't there last year. And it's just wee things, because obviously, as we've said before, it's like Hart and Juranovic came out for dinner. These two players came out, etc., etc. So it's good to see again, because it's not been there, I'd say, probably in about a year and a half, 2 years, maybe. And you can see it now as well on the park, not even just at it. They're fighting for each other. It's not just a case of like playing for that particular person. Because I think, probably people might disagree, I think as well as he done, I think Edward was playing for his Celtic to get a bigger move than what he was, personally. But now, again, you see it where, again, they're all fighting for each other, they're fighting for the badge and whatever. And it's great to see, because, again, it's not been there. and that's what we need going into these latter stages of the season. And it's class to see, to be honest.
So I think as well, as you mentioned there, we're all together, and obviously when Ange came in, you've seen all the bits of video clips and we don't stop, we celebrate at the end, and etc. etc. And I think that's the thing with us. I know people will say that, I know in previous years we've had a knack of scoring last minute goals. That's no doing, people will obviously say it's jammy or it's fluky, it's this and that. It's no fluky and jammy, it's just consistency of going to the end and wanting to win, endeavour, just desire to win football games. I think that's what we've got. I just, even myself, even the last few minutes, you're thinking, we're going to score, we're going to score. Because it was coming in the full game. The amount of chances we missed, Jack and Marcus missed a few. People gave him a bit of stick about his sitter. I think I'm going to, for me as a striker, I'm going to give him a bit of a doubt. I think it's a cracking save. He should be stoned, but it's a cracking save at point.
I agree, because I was sitting right behind it, so I could see, like, it was just, I think he was anticipating Seacrest going left, and obviously he was going to put it into that corner, but obviously he's went to go left, but he's just stuck his foot out. So I can see why people say he should be scoring, but I'm with you, I think it's just a cracking save.
I don't think he played, people gave him a bit of gyps and he didn't play that well. I don't think he played that bad. I think he had to do better in the game, he should be scoring. But I thought in a whole, I think as a squad mate, we didn't play that bad. Even the guys that came on the park, as a subs, I don't think, obviously Ben Doak, I think that boy's a talent. You can, a few times they try to get by men and they're just pushing them off. I think maybe the physical aspect, he's obviously on the development.
I said that to people running about me. There was times where there was just like gone like that, and I was like, he's just no.
16, isn't he? So
I get he's still the time to develop, but I was just like, he's just no get that physicalness about him. But sorry, it's just I would agree with that, because like I said it to people running about me that he's just getting muscled off the ball too easy. But I thought he did, but was it 20 minutes, 25 minutes he had? I can't remember roughly, but I thought he played brilliant, because I thought there was times where the final ball in wasn't the best. Obviously there was great balls in, like even Abada played a few, and that's one, but only the one criticism I've had is his final end ball. But I thought Ben Doak was class, just like I said, his balls in, taking a man on. Like, I get he's only 16, but he's everything we've just complained at Forest, isn't he? Like,
I think for his age, mate, you can see that he's obviously got something, because Ange says he's been training for a while with him. So to train with the first team at 16, you need to be an exceptional talent, especially nowadays at Celtic. And even previous squads, you've got to be exceptional at 16 to play with Celtic. He did look a bit, I would say, the physical aspect, but again, he's only 16. He might just be left school. I think he's maybe just full time now, so his physical attributes will develop over time, and I think obviously training with the squad, I think he's just going to get even better. Obviously he'll have his own plan of how to get himself better, because I think you can see it, Sam, he's got something, like he says, he was taking guys on, he's very quick as well. And to have that at 16, he's only going to get even better. So I think it's every praise to a young boy at 16-year-old to come in and play Celtic Park, their debut. And I'll give Ange as well a bit of praise here, Sam, as well. He didn't put him on. You're chasing the game. There's nothing each. You're chasing the game. It's a must-win game.
Just going to say that, aye.
And you're throwing on a 16-year-old boy, so that takes points for the manager. But the manager's no daft, Sam. I think he knows what he's doing. He's done it with Dawson. He's done it with Moffat. He wouldn't find these boys in if he didn't think they were good enough. And I've always said it doesn't matter if you're 14. Obviously, you can't play 14. But if you're 14, 15, 16, whatever age you are, if you're good enough to play at a higher level, whatever level but you're playing it, it's a better level than you're playing it, then I see you're in the right place, you're good enough to play there, because age doesn't matter when it comes to your football. If you're 16, you're good enough, then fire away. Because look at Kieran Tierney when he first came in, people were thinking, who's this wee guy? And then within 2 years, man, bulked up, phenomenal, and look at him. So I think the boys got a very, very bright future at Celtic. Maybe no long term at Celtic because he might go elsewhere and play. But as it stands at the moment, I think he's got every chance of getting more minutes on the park this season, because if he trusts him in a game like that, who's to say that might not play in a bigger game or a lesser game?
Aye, because as you say, he's just at 16. That's the bit. And again, you can only judge a player after you can't. You can't judge a player, especially at that age, of a 25-minute cameo, if you will. But what you were saying, obviously, about the manager, I think it does take big balls to do that, because, as you say, you're chasing. I was just going to say it before you put the point across, because you're chasing the game, you're nothing each. Obviously, we should have won it by more, right? But that's another point. But you'd expect to throw in your more experienced players, and I know he didn't have. He had not very limited. He had sort of limited options on the bench, but he didn't need to do that. And I thought, as I said earlier, he came on and had a great game, and that'll only set him in good stead. Because think about it as well. Obviously, we're chasing a game. That's 60,000 plus fans in that stadium for a 16-year-old to come off the bench. So think about it. His half must have been going like that and like clutching like mad. But I don't think he's got. I'm not saying obviously other people have said it, but in case anybody can translate him, I don't think he could keep his head high based on his performance. And as you say, I think he's got a bright future, whether it's being I'm not obviously early days, but being a one club man or going on to obviously better things. I'm using that in quotation marks because there's like the likes of Barca, Real, but I think we're obviously just as big a club, to be honest. But that's again another story. But I think we just need to. I think as well as I agree, age doesn't matter in terms of talent, but he might. As I think you said it earlier on, he might still be in school, so you need to have that balance because he might get like too big headed and then fall off the face of the earth. So I think it's careful treatment in terms of what games he plays in and the minutes he gets, etc. But I was very impressed with him yesterday. I keep saying yesterday. I am very impressed with him on Saturday. It was one of the players I thought I was like, you can again have your head held high, because obviously you were saying about Jackie Marcus. I thought he was good at points, but it just needs to be more take his time, because I think there was times where he sort of lashed at shots and everybody could have took his time and maybe, I'm not saying he would have scored, but maybe had a better chance of scoring than he did. So I kind of went in between Doak and Jackie Marcus there, but on Doak, I think he's got a very bright future at Celtic.
As you mentioned there about Jackie Marcus, Martin, hopefully that's Jackie Marcus's poor game out the way and he plays well on Wednesday. I think he will come good. I'm agreeing with you, Martin. I think the guy's got quality. I think he's maybe trying too hard. I don't know what you think, Sam, but I think he's trying hard to impress, and I don't think he needs to try hard, because we've seen what he done last year for Venlo. He got 31 goals or whatever it is in all competitions in a decent league against some top teams. So I think it's down to us as well to give him the service, because like JP says, he didn't think he had a bad game. He felt we didn't use him. I'm kind of agreeing with you, JP, as well, mate, that I think if we've got a guy with that stature in the box, I think we need to use him. Like I said before, Tynecastle, Sam, if we've got him in the box, we need to utilise him. We need to get coaches in the box. We need to get him in the box, because there's no point in having him in the box with his stature, that target man X type thing, if you're going to use him. Because I think he's pitiful. Tays and I think on Wednesday, I think he'll play on Wednesday. I know there was a few fans are maybe saying, but Abada maybe go up front and Forrest do wide, something different. But I think the physical aspect, I think Jackie Marcus will do well against Rangers. I think he'll need to do well against Rangers, because you know yourself, Sam, it's going to be a physical game against Rangers. So I don't think he played that bad on Saturday. Should have scored. I think that's maybe the only thing I would say. He should have done better when it comes to finishing. I think that whole, Sam, I think if we were more clinical, that's a game where we've spoke about. Could have been a 4-5-0 game. We're due to give somebody a right good hiding. Hopefully it's Wednesday, but we're due to give somebody a massive doing, because the football's there, the chances are there. It's just where I know we can be clinical enough to create it. Because I genuinely believe, see if you get, I'm not wanting to give Marcus too much here, but see if that's Kyogo, I think it's 2 or 3 goals or so. Yep. I do think Jackie Marcus has got the quality to play with Celtic. You've seen it on YouTube. I've seen highlights of his games for Venlo. He's got something. But like I says, I don't think we utilise him enough on Saturday. We put the balls in the box. It's all right putting the ball in the box, but you've got to give him a chance to get there. But I remember doing a pod a few months ago with the ex-Celtic to him at Parkland, and I think he said, I think it was Tommy Burns that says to him, sure it was Tommy Burns, he says, as long as you're a winger and you get that ball in between either the backstack, the goalkeeper, or the middle, and if you've done your job, it's up to the striker to get there. So it's got to, Jackie Marcus has got to move. His movement's got to be first class to get to that ball, but the crosses have to be pinpoint. So Adi and JP says he felt the tempo dropped until Jota, Janovic and Doak came on. I agree, JP's well, mate, when it comes to the tempo. I think the subs changed the game as well. I don't know what you think Janovic, Sam. As soon as he came in, I couldn't believe we signed him. I think it was 2.5 million, 2.75 million, an absolute steal again. Daylight robbery, a mask should be on by the board because they've done a blinder here. Obviously, I anti-signed them, but the board have sanctioned it. I know there was talk about trying to get the boy to I think he went to Galatasaray, the guy for Rennes, I'm sure. And obviously the board were unsure about sanctioning Janovic and were sanctioned it. And his creation's right back. You're no creation's right back if you're hopeless. Do you know what I mean? The guy's got quality. He's quick. He whips the ball in. He covers the defence quickly. Janovic, Sam, I think he played well on Saturday. I think he's played part for the odd, maybe 2 or 3 games. His performances are up, but on the whole, he's been very consistent. And I know people are talking about Ralston. You can see the quality in Janovic, and for me, as much as it's hard on Ralston to drop him, I think Janovic is the mainstay now until Janovic has a bad game. But I think the way Rangers want to play, Sam, they will get switched, or you might play Janovic at left back. Because on Wednesday, we all said it could be Scales or Taylor. They could play Ralston right back on Wednesday and play Janovic at left back. So we've got options now. But on Janovic, Sam, I think the guy's an absolute fantastic player.
Aye. I always did think that, but it's only in the last, I'd say, maybe a couple of months that I've looked at it and I've went, aye, like, he's, as you say, it's a daylight robbery for only £2.5 billion. Because it's just to be, it's not even like, because I agree with everything that he said in terms of his crossing, how he whips a ball in, and it's just again the wee small ones, because you've seen it at Tynecastle, but I can't remember, I think it was Boyce that was through him, like no, it was close to being 1-on-1 anyway, and Juranovic covered a good few yards to get back and take the ball off him. So again, as much as it's obviously harsh on Ralston, would Ralston be able to cover that? So, but as you say, you don't get to be your country's number 1 right back if you're garbage. And I think he was brilliant when he came on. I think him, even Taylor, like as much as obviously you don't like him, and I've been one of his biggest critics, I think he was done well when he came on Saturday. And the subs did definitely change the game. Because you think about it as well, we played 3 different people at right back on Saturday as well. Left back, sorry. We played 3 different people at left back, but I own Juranovic. I think he's a class act. I think he gets, going back to our point earlier, I think he gets what Celtic is about. He's just, again, it's just the best word I can use. He's a class act. It's just that even as well, when you've seen him and Jota running into the crowd, we've not had that at Celtic in years. And I seen a thing on Twitter and it says that'll maybe rival, like Jota and Juranovic getting into the crowd, will maybe rival Larson sticking out of the tongue. I wouldn't go that far. I'd maybe put it in the same bracket, but it's wee things like that. I just, again, I know I've just said it, but I think he just gets what we're about. And it's just class to see. Because, again, I was sitting, like, I could have threw a stone and, like, landed on, that's how close they were. And you just seen the emotions for day 2 and obviously the full fans. But it's just, I hope he does play. Like, I think he will, and I hope he does play on Wednesday because, as you said, he's the mainstay now until he has a bad game. And I think Ralston can do it as well, but the thing that he's versatile and all, so he can play either side. He could maybe, I know obviously people maybe don't agree, but he could maybe do a job in midfield as well, if vitally, crucially need be. But he's another one. I think he's the one, obviously we talk about Jota, Kyogo, Joe Hart, etc. I think he's one that goes under the radar. And I don't think he's one of these players that commands the applaud. I think he just goes about his business and just does his business quietly. And big up to the board for sanctioning, obviously, the £2.5 billion robbery of the year.
Oh, mate, he's brilliant. I agree that I think he could play maybe a right wing back or a right mid. I think he's got the pace, I think he's got the technical ability to do it. So again, you've got that option if like Abada or Forrest are injured, you can put your Ivich right mid and play Ralston right back now. So you've got options in the squad. But obviously for me as well, Saturday Beaton gets sent off. I know you mentioned Greg Taylor. I'm going to give him a bit of, I know he get fouled here. I know he get fouled. But I think
you're just looking for every chance to criticise him.
No, he get caught twice. He get caught twice, fanning on the ball, dilly-dallying the ball. He get caught out twice, dilly-dallying the ball. Whether that was because of the options, I don't know. But he get caught out twice, and then that caused Beaton to foul him. You could probably see it giving a foul on him, but foul or no, you've still got to play on and do your game. And he just gave up. He was like, "Oh, referee, foul." And that, see if they score for that free kick. Who's to say that we don't want to score a goal and or the game? But that should get the Wednesday's game up on a back burner. So, yep. I do believe Scales is, for me, he's a better left back, especially going forward. But I think obviously it's a deadline day. Well, no, we got a left back today, Sam. I don't know, but I think left back for me, we need to sign a top. Obviously, when I'm saying top quality, I mean quality that we can get, obviously value wise and whatever else. Because we're not going to get a Kieran Tierney again. Let's be fair. So unless he gets through the youth and he's phenomenal. But I'm not comparing these two to Kieran Tierney because you've got to know that because Kieran Tierney was a one-off. As a Gary when he first came in was a one-off because he was phenomenal as well. So Wednesday, going to Wednesday, I don't know who you put left back for me. It was Scales, but I think the pace will be a thing because if this wee boy Darrow's playing that side, the pace will be a big thing because let's be fair, Tavernier might be hopeless defensively, but he's decent going forward. This boy Diallo, people might say, oh, he's only a young boy, he's quick, he's dynamic, and he might be a threat to us. But as I said in the group chat, if you give him a crunching tackle early on, the wee boy might shut it because I don't think he's going. It's all right playing at Old Trafford, it's all right playing in Italy and with Atlanta. But you haven't played at Celtic Park under the lights in a Wednesday night in a pitiful game against Rangers. That takes its toll against any English game and any Italian game. So for me, Taylor, I think he caused the red card in a way. Beaton had to take because the guy, I know Starfelt could have, Starfelt or Scales, can't remember who it was, they could have covered, but that's not the point. I think Beaton was unlucky. He had to take for the team, he took one for the team. I thought he played well on Saturday as well. I think on the whole, for me, the left back situation, I don't know what you think of the left back situation, Sam. It's been a bugbear, I think, for Celtic since Tierney left. We've spent money in three of Bolingoli, Taylor, and Scales now. We've no got a guy who you go, right, he's a left back from now on. If it's going to take maybe Janovic playing there at the end of the season and Ralston might back to we get a bit of quality in it, then so be it. But I think Ange likes Taylor because he's given him a new deal. Like I said before, I don't know how we get a new deal. Does he deserve a new deal? But again, we've got to trust the manager in this situation. He sees him every day in training. But the left back, Sam, I really don't know. Do we get something in before the end of the window? Or is there somebody better lined up for the summer? Because I think Andrew's got a lot of plans. I don't think he's a guy that's going to sit still. Sit still. I think we're going to be a revolving door club now. I think there's going to be players every summer will be going out. If they're Deadwood, I think they'll be gone. No, like last year we kept Deadwood. I think this year, maybe in the window, in the last few years, the window, Barkas or Yeti might be gone. So, but the left back, Sam, I don't know what you think. I know you said tell. It didn't play that bad. I just think the two decisions that he got caught on could have cost us a game.
Aye. It's one of the ones because although we all know your opinions obviously on him, I think it's a tough one because I don't think he is Celtic's left back personally, but I think he's been good since he came back after his injury. Obviously in the shoulder surgery after that, But overall, going forward long term, I don't think he's the answer personally. And that's harsh because, again, I think he has been good. I thought he was decent when he came on Saturday, all being barring the incident with Beaton's second jailer. I don't know. It's a hard situation because we can't, obviously, we've no get the money to go out and spend on a 30-40 million pound left back. So it's one of the ones. Do you bring somebody in on loan or like? But as you say, I don't think Ange's the type of guy to sit in his backside and just let things go. I think he's on the ball. He's keeping track of like every possible market that he could, obviously, especially the Japanese market. And as you say as well, we've not properly replaced Tierney. You can never Bonnie, obviously, because as you say, and I agree with you, he's one of maybe I don't want to say one in a lifetime type players, but you're going to be very hard to find a player similar to him come through your youth academy or to pop up in like whatever market, obviously, you find. But I think overall we do need to go. Maybe no, obviously, because it's going to be hard now, but the deadline day to day. But whether it be the summer window coming up, obviously in a couple of months or whatever, I think we need to find a longer term solution left back because, again, albeit they've got attributes that I like, but I don't think Scales or Taylor will be the long term option.
No, I'm the same as you, mate. Unless Scales is Angie's man, then I think Taylor's maybe just here as a backup now. But I personally agree with you. I know people are saying that we can't sign 15, 20 million pound players, whatever. Right? I understand that, but the money we got for Tierney, right? We went to sign Taylor and Ballingolly, just say 7 million to them. Why just not go out and pay £7 million for a decent left back? We've got the money to sign players for £5 million because we're going to replace. Somebody's going to be sold next year for 10 million. That's just the way Celtic have got that value in players now.
Yep.
Whether it's, I'm not trying to sell guys here, but whether it's Rogic, McGregor, I'm just saying guys have value here. Janovic, maybe if he goes and has a brilliant World Cup, I don't know if Croatia qualify, but if they qualify, he could be
that.
So you've got a World Cup coming up as well here, so in the end of the year, so players will, if they play well and some of the players go, their markets are going to rise, so it's only going to benefit us. But the left back, mate, I don't know why we just didn't go out and buy a solid fucking left back for £5-6 million, whatever it is. Just bite the bullet and do it, because like you were saying before, when you sign project players for £3.5-4 million for projects, and if they come in and play like your Kamalas, I don't think he get a chance, but he's obviously doing okay in the MLS. But then people will give the MLS a bit of stick. The MLS are decent standard now. Decent players are gone. They've got the facilities and the weather and they've got everything else. So that's no doom and gloom as I think it once was. But the left back, mate, I really don't know. I didn't know any players after my head that we could sign. Obviously, Andrew had that in his locker. As you say, the Japanese market could be a thing. I like to think there's a very good left back in the Japanese market, but I think because we've signed guys like Hatate, Maeda for a bit of cheapness, I would say, I think all these clubs in that type of market, that kind of country, will be a bit more wise to that now.
Aye, I was just going to say that, aye.
So maybe the left back, I don't know, Yokohama's maybe worth £2 million. They might want £4 million now because you know how good he is and how good he might be. But as well, I don't think, I'm not saying it's a necessity to get a left back in January or the summer, but I think it all depends, Sam, on how we do towards the end of the season. If we win the league, and then obviously that's the fruits of the Champions League and all that money, I think you'll see maybe 2 or 3 top quality players come in. I think it opened the market for us, I think, going forward, because no player wants to come and play qualifiers. There's a bigger aspect to come to Celtic. Obviously, Celtic as a whole has a big aspect. It's a big move. It's nobody needs to tell you what Celtic's all about. But if you come to Celtic when you've got 6 games in Europe to play in the big stage, it's a bigger draw to a player, I would like to think. So say for talking say it was like Wanyama again, you can get Wanyama again because you've got the money to sign him now. Permanently. Again, I'm just talking that as a scenario because obviously we're rumoured to get him in the summer and stuff. So But obviously as well, Sam, onto the game, the roar for the goal with Abada, I think it was a sense of thank fuck than anything else.
Aye, that's coming from somebody that was actually there. Because there was a guy sitting next to me with his 3 veins, and he fucked off and left. He's like, because he wrapped a scarf around his son. I kept thinking he was going to punch the barrier, like obviously to cushion his, so he didn't punch it bare-handed. But aye, it was a sense of like fuck, because I was frustrated. Don't get me wrong, obviously you're going to be getting into the last couple of minutes of a game when your team are still drawing nothing each. But as you said earlier, I thought a goal was always coming because we had countless, I don't even know how many shots we had, I never even checked, but we had countless chances and at least one of them had to go in. One of them. And I think I said it to you, but although obviously the atmosphere is tremendous, 9 times out of 10, all being, I'm not going to get into it, but silent protest and everything, barring all that, it's always class. But I think that, for me, was one of the best roles that it's been at Celtic Park since I can remember anyway. I think it was obviously a mixture of relief, because obviously it's a 92nd or whatever minute winner it was, and it was a pivotal one. Like, I know it was at home, but Dundee United are never ever a good or an easy team to play against. Sorry, because they're obviously stuffy, as all our teams are when they play against Celtic. But I just think people say, obviously, and I agree with them, I'm not disagreeing, but people say the away one at Aberdeen was a turning point, which I agree with. In games like that, I think that, me personally, will come a turning point come the end of the season, because it's just, there's so many factors. Obviously, with them dropping points, if we don't win that and we draw, obviously, and claw back one, it just makes it harder for us. I'm not saying we're out of the title race, but it makes it harder, obviously. And it just makes Wednesday even more pivotal that we win, more so than obviously already was anyway. So the roar was absolutely tremendous. I just looked round after, because I was obviously jumping up and down, and you just seen everybody just up and down, and like, I know it's probably going to be another topic that we could talk about for ages, but like, it seems stupid, but there wasn't a phone, like nobody was videoing. It was just, it was raw emotion. But the roar was unreal. Like, honestly, I was sitting there and I had goosebumps at how big the roar was, and looking at all the players obviously going into that side of the crowd, and Jota and Juranovic, and it's games like that that make me, obviously, although you can agree yourself, football gives you a heart attack at some points, but I think it's games like that that make you appreciate football, and obviously make you love Celtic more than obviously you already do. It's just for moments like that, because they come very few and far between, I find anyway.
I think that game just shows you exactly why fans need to be in the stadium. Football makes fans. Imagine showing that goal in the last minute, and it was last season with no fans. It would have been all brilliant, like cool, on to Wednesday. It wouldn't be the raw emotion. It's just, as you say, mate, down England, I'm not going to criticise English football. I don't like it personally. I think it's overhyped and overpaid and whatever else. You go to Man United, you go to Man City, they're all wanting shirts, they're all wanting their phones out, they're all wanting photos, they're all filming the free kicks or filming the penalties. The only time I've got my phone at filming stuff, it's maybe the walk alone at the start of the game or something, all the disco lights. That's it. Obviously Celtic back time aside though anyway, so what's the point? But it's just, as you say, it was just raw football. No phones, just sheer enjoyment of the game, enjoyment of the goal, and I think that's what's missing for football now. Football's obviously getting more branded now. It's getting more social thing when it comes to social media and people wanting this and people wanting that, brands. It's just, I think football is, the fans are football, like Jock's Dean that says, football for the fans and nothing. I think Saturday proved that. I think if there was no fans, would we have got the goal? I think the fans, like I say, I'm not going to really talk about Rangers because I don't like doing it, but you watch some of their games and it's after 15 minutes, get the ball at the park, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. There was a few moments on Saturday, but it was just frustration. But we wrote our team on, and you can see that on Saturday. And I think it'll be the same on Wednesday, obviously. But obviously, JP says the thoughts on Mikey Johnson. JP, I think,
Well,
I think you know my thoughts on Johnson. JP, I think I don't think he's good enough for Celtic. I know he's had a few injury problems. Maybe I don't know if it's obviously the mental capacity to get back from long-term injuries. Listen, I've been injured myself. I know how hard it is to come back mentally. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done personally. So I don't know how much it hard be for a guy that's his job day in, day out. So we don't know the full ins and outs. Obviously how fit he is. I've heard he's injured again. Supposedly we've just seen the group chat there that he's might be injured again. So whether or not that's true, I'm not sure. We'll need to confirm that. But I think Mikey Johnson, JP, for me, I don't think he's going to make it. I think maybe guys ahead of him so far, as in the Jota, the Abada, even Forrest is still ahead of him. I think the boy Doak might get a chance this season, because obviously if he's injured, then there's going to be a space on the bench for a winger. So whether that means, Sam, that we get somebody in to the season, if that is true that Johnson's injured, whether we get a winger in, I don't know. But I don't know your thoughts, and obviously would Doak be ahead of Johnson? I really don't know, JP. I don't really know how I can put that across, because the boy Doak's only made his debut, mate. So I don't know what you think, Sam, but for me, I don't know. I don't want to be ahead of him, but I think the boy will play more minutes for the rest of the year, because on that performance, I think he deserves to get more minutes on show.
Aye, definitely. But Johnson's a hard one, because people like to give him a wee bit of slack because he's injuries, which is fair enough, because he's only young, and he's obviously got time to develop. But I agree with you. I don't think he's going to make it, to be honest. And I feel bad saying that, because I'd never want a Rain to no succeed. But he's just, I don't know if it's, I think it's a mixture of like his decision making. Like I'm not doubting his ability. I'm just going to say his ability, but I'm not doubting that. But I don't know. It's things like his decision making that. And it seems stupid saying that, but it's to play in a team like Celtic, we things like your decision making need to be. I know they can't be perfect all the time, but more often than not, they need to be good. And we're obviously come back to the Forest point. We made that about Forest. His decision making's poor. But I don't think Mikey Johnson's going to cut it, unfortunately. And as I keep saying, I'd love it. I don't mind if he proves me wrong. If he goes out, if he comes back and goes out and plays brilliant, he's into next season, etc., etc. I don't mind them proving me wrong, but I agree with your point. I don't think he'll cut it.
Because here's one as well, I'll put to yourself, Sam, and anybody else who's listening can comment as well. We let Simonovic go because he was injured all the time. So what's the difference with Mikey Johnson? Simonovic knees was done, but he still played maybe 20 to 25 games a season. I think the year before they let him go, I think he played a decent amount of games. Again, I don't believe that was a manager decision. I think that was a board decision, because he was injured, and they were obviously paying his injury bills, and I think they thought this is too much. We can't have a guy on the wage ball that's not really going to play a full season. I thought Simonovic was a decent talent. I liked him. He had the odd mistake in him, but I thought he was decent. Him and Shevchenko, I think they did a good partnership. I thought they two were decent. Personally, don't believe so let Shevchenko go either. I know he could have been a wee tiny bit slow, but I thought he done okay. I don't. Again, on that situation, I think. What do you do with Johnson? Do you put him on, if he's obviously we don't know if he's injured, we don't know if it's serious, if that is true, I'll need to confirm that. But I think he needs to get on loan to play games. I don't think he's going to get games here every week. I think maybe getting out in Aberdeen or the Hibs or somebody like that to play week in, week out, maybe somebody doing a championship or whatever to play games consistently. I think Sam's going to be the best option for him, because he can't play in the B team. There's no development squad anymore to play in. So, because let's be fair, Jota and Abada and Forrest are going to be the three wingers that you're going to normally use at the end of the season. And obviously, Paul says he thinks Giakoumakis will come good. He rates Taylor and rates Taylor. I agree with you there, Paul. I think he does rate him. And he seems to link up well with Jota on the left-hand side. I agree with you there, Paul, as well. I think he does do well with him, but I'm just focused on I think he's got to do better going forward when it comes to putting the ball in as well. You've seen it with Scales for the ball for Giakoumakis. I think Scales got a better end product than Greg Taylor. But then again, I think defensively Taylor's a bit better. But but I think going forward, Scales is better. I don't know what you think of that, Sam. Then I'll go to the last bit of the pod. But I agree with you in a sense, Paul. I do think Ange rates him. I think that's why he gave him a new deal. I'm agreeing as well. I think Jackie Marcus will come good. I don't know if Taylor will be the long-term left back, but I do think Ange does rate him because obviously that's why I gave him a new deal and probably a wage rise as well.
Aye, it's one of the ones, as I've obviously said earlier, it's hard because he probably is a better defensive option than Scales, but I agree with you in the sense that Scales is better going forward. But it's just, who do you play? I think it depends on the team you play. I know. I think, for example, if you're playing a stuffier team, then you play Scales because obviously it gives you that option going forward. But if you're playing a team maybe like Rangers, then you play Taylor. But I don't know. It's obviously a flip of a coin. Sorry, but I don't know. It's just a hard one because I think obviously that Paul said and what we've said. I think Ange does rate Taylor. I agree with that. Otherwise, he wouldn't have got a new deal. He wouldn't get played, etc., etc. But I think I don't know that point about him linking up with Jota. I actually think Juranovic links up better on the left back spot with Jota than Taylor does. Because you've seen it on Saturday, the two of them were like brilliant together on that left hand side. But I think, and it probably me just picking Jota up a wee bit too much more. But I think that he's just one of the players that makes the players run about him better. Because of his ability and the vibe he gives off, but that just me again maybe bigging Jota up too much. But I on Taylor, I think it's poor, not poor. I think it's bad on him because again, it does seem like a stand-up guy. He seems like a down-to-earth guy and just love. I think he genuinely does love playing for Celtic. You can see it. He loves playing for Celtic, but I don't think he's got the option and the answer of what we need going forward.
No, I agree, mate. And obviously, just a brief 2-minute chat about Wednesday, mate. Which obviously we're doing a big deadline day live podcast tonight from 6 p.m. on to midnight, hopefully. Try and get any wee deals we can get in and a few kind of different topics. Obviously, we'll go into tonight, but I would say it's a lot of content involved tonight. A lot of guys helping out, chipping in, and I think it'll be an absolutely fantastic bit of content for some fans to listen to. Hope you can all tune in at 6 p.m. tonight. It'll be on YouTube, Facebook, and all the other platforms. Obviously, the Sam Rangers game, I think obviously we'll go into more detail next 2 or 3 days about it. But what's your kind of opinions on obviously the game and how do you think we'll line up?
I think because I always say that form and momentum and everything doesn't matter in these type of games, but I think this one weirdly I think it does because I'm not saying they've had a bad stretch of games. Obviously, the last game against Ross County and then the game against Aberdeen, I know they've won 1 or 2 games in between, but I just think weirdly, I think we've got the momentum going it, whereas they are a wee bit stagnant. Just a wee bit behind us, I'd say. But again, they've won games, but I think it's a big game, as I said earlier, no matter what the situation is. But I think now with them dropping points obviously on Saturday, us clawing it back to 2 points, it's the closest this title race has been all season. So it was a must-win game regardless anyway, but I think now it's a must-win game for both teams. I think I'd slightly say towards us because obviously if they get to be they stretch it back to 5, I'm always nervously excited for these games anyway, but I think now it's just, again, with all these situations I've just explained, I think it's making me more nervous. But in terms of the lineup, I think it'd be a case of Hart and goals. He's not going to get took out, obviously. Juranovic, Starfelt, Vickers, Scales, I'd say. I'd probably go McCarthy, O'Reilly, and Rio. And then Jota, Marcus, and Abada. I think that's the lineup I'd go with. Because obviously you're not going to drop Abada after scoring the winner, which I don't think, I'm not saying you, but I think people are overlooking because it's great composure for a 20-year-old to take that ball down and then hit it, because they could have just lashed at it and obviously maybe put it in the bar or something. So he's undroppable. Jota, obviously, again, you know what you get with him. He's undroppable. And the reason I say Yakimakis is because the point we made earlier, with the physical centre halves that Rangers have got, I think we'll need that. They're similar to Hearts in the sense that they'll rough you up and obviously stuff like that. So that's my lineup I'd go with anyway. I don't know if obviously you and people watching and listening would agree, but that's what I'd go with.
No, I think roughly, I think most fans will be the same thinking, mate. Obviously, these games can be nerve-wracking, but obviously when you get to the game, I'm going to go to the game myself, and you're going to go, right. You kind of get in the stadium and thinking, right, here we go. You get a bit of nervous, but I'm actually quietly confident because, like you say, you've dropped points. I've watched them this season when they've been on the telly and stuff, and people have said Gio's been a good brand of football and stuff. I don't know where they're pulling it for. I think they've not really performed very well. I think we're football wise, we're by far the better team. I think if we come out the box, we get an early goal. I think it's me personally. I'm not going to say it's make or break, but I think whoever wins, they're going to have a big stronghold in the title race. Obviously, you want to win. It's a massive win, but I think it's a must not lose game. It's a must not lose game. I think if you draw, okay, you lose. You don't gain any momentum in the title race as in points wise, but you're only 2 points behind considering it was a lot bigger before, and suppose Ange might be sacked by Christmas. So I think it's a must not lose. Obviously, it's a must win. It's a must win game, but I think it's a must not lose. I think if you obviously want to win every game, but I would take a draw because you don't want to lose and you don't want to gain any more momentum and any more bragging rights because let's be fair, people don't want to admit it. The last year or two, they've had their number. They've not beaten. So we need to get that sorted. For me, team sheet obviously Hearts for stick on. I'm going to throw a curveball in. I think he might play Ralston right back. He might play Janovic left back for the pace. I think because if this wee boy Diallo does play, I think he might want to combat the pace down that side. And I think
you just really don't like Taylor, don't you?
No, I don't, mate. No, no. I think he'll play Janovic just for the pace aspect because the pace aspect and experience. Because I think this wee boy, I've not seen much of him, but I know he's very, very nippy and quick. And I think we all know that going down the lines is there. Most of that's the way they play. If you stop the wings, if you stop the fullbacks, Rangers don't play. We all know that. It's the way they've played for years. So I think it'll be, again, I think he will go with your lineup unless McGregor's fit. Again, McGregor could be fit. He could walk out with a mass and play. We don't know this. But I believe there will be a curveball somewhere. Either a new signing or Kyogo might come out like Undertaker with a belt when I'm back, baby. I don't know what's going to happen. But something, I think there'll be a curveball somewhere. I might be wrong, but I've just got a feeling that Ange keeps his cards close to his chest.
I've said that.
I think for me, I think he might play Nelson. I think it'll be Starter Vickers, Starfelt, and I think Janovic might play left back. I think he might want to balance out the pace for the two wings, so I think Janovic might play. If McCarthy's fit, which he is, and McGregor can't play, obviously Beaton suspended, I think it'll be 3 youths, and I'm saying Jota, Abada, and Giakoumakis. But again, would it surprise you if we went to 3 at back and found Julian in? Would it surprise you? And play Juranovic and out right back or right wing and play Jota right back? There's still a lot of things that he could do here.
Aye.
But I think the solid might be your teammate. I think I'm only putting Juranovic left back as a curveball just to surprise Rangers. Because I think Rangers are going to expect Celtic to play Taylor skills. I don't think they'll expect Celtic to play Janovic. So, again, football is all about mind games and combating formations. So, I think your team might be teammate. I think Skills, I said on the group chat as well, Skills might be in the left back. But again, I'm only putting Janovic in as a curveball. But again, Sam, thanks for your time, mate. And hopefully, again, on Wednesday, hopefully we'll get a positive result, which is going to benefit the team in the title race. But again, as I mentioned, you can get us on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. Supports everything that we're trying to do for the channel. Again, deadline day is obviously today. Well, no, we get a few in or one in or a few will go. I something to mention, Sam. Udinigi, is that what you call him? Is that his name? I
Yep.
can't get his name properly.
Urigide. Right. Well played, son. Well played.
He's supposedly going on loan to Ostrotente, I think, is that Belgium. So well know that gets the other line as well. So again, that will be the boy experience. But again, obviously on your podcast, we're doing a deadline tonight to 6 to midnight, basically 6 hours live on obviously Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, a lot of content and different topics. Scott Arcroft, the author, he'll be on at 6 with me to start off with. And obviously William Glavner, one at 8, he's a former agent, so he was talking about obviously dealing, he dealt with Ryan Christie and stuff on deadline day, so there'll be a lot of content involved tonight. Again, hopefully you can all tune in tonight. But again, Sam, thanks for your time, mate, and hail.
Cheers, thank you.